Start with pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, you got the floor.
We got our lower North Bridge replaced last week. It's up and running. We're gonna go do the Rock Creek Bridge tomorrow. Parts ordered for the Ryan Canyon Bridge. Hopefully they come within 3 weeks. That's good. We'll take our temporary bridge down to Dell and get started on it at the end of the week. A lot of bridge stuff.
Then that leaves the blacktail, right?
Yes.
That's about the only one you're working.
That one's,
After a week or two, that's it.
that one's really gonna be a fun one.
The
blacktail
sure.
Not really in here,
Yeah, when you shut down the Blacktail Road for 2 or 3 days, we gotta get a lot of information out on that part. Sure, there's sure just what, but that's gonna be a month or 2, 6 weeks.
Hopefully.
Hopefully in that
it'll
amount
be,
of time.
yeah, the 1st October before we shut water off.
They can get around, but man, it's gonna be a long
I
way.
dare you to do it opening hunting
You might be busy here.
It might prevent some.
Yeah, I started on the other side, so it's fine.
He'll only be home 2 days a week.
But if we don't shut it down and put one in there, the state might shut it down and they damn well please.
Yeah.
Then who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, there's still some big hay trucks going across that thing that I'm pretty sure over 5 tons.
I can't believe that.
There's not a bridge in in Beaverhead County where heavy trucks don't go across 5 tons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Big holes full of
They
them.
usually
They couldn't operate it, they
They
did.
usually slow down.
That's the problem. Just
I want to speed up when you go across your mountain.
No, you don't want that rhythm. The worst thing is walking cows across. The cows get that swinging rope, racing the bridges doing this.
You got anything else, Bob?
Doing some blading and stuff. Trying to get some school bus routes done. We're the only ones that can't get moisture. Lyman, Dell, the big holes really get moisture. We're not getting much around here. But do what we can when we. The millings project has been in Wide River kind of on hold, I guess.
Because of the moisture,
No,
smoke?
on that schoolhouse road, that Swamp Creek Road,
Oh,
they gotta do it with end dumps because they can't turn around at the end. So
Oh,
they piled it all out at Divide, and when they get all done, they're gonna come back and all do us instead. So I sent Darren to go get our blade back, and we're gonna use it around here until they call me again, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're making headway on bridges.
all right.
Got most of them back open. Got a solution for the Ryan Canyon one, so if we could get that one back open.
And those are my neighbors. That would be nice. They still wave at me.
That's all I got for now.
Rod,
Oh, we issued a floodplain permit last week for Hayden Marsh Rancher. We'll be putting a culvert underneath the old highway. Out a little north of Glander, I think around Marker 21. Got a subdivision turned in last week on Smith Road. So we'll be having a planning board meeting in September. So,
Minor? Just 2 lot, 1 lot?
5 lot minor, so. Other than that, that's about it. Pretty quiet.
okay, Jeff,
Oh, geez. It's been busy. Last week, Department of Animal and Range Science from MSU was in town. Went out and did a range tour. I did not anticipate it to be as long as it was, but I got back at like 6 o'clock that night, and it was really good. 4-H rodeo was last week. This week, I got a hayfield inspection right after this meeting. Tomorrow is the 4-H horse show. And, I've got another meeting on, virtual fencing. Something we're starting to look at pretty heavily. Wednesday, I've got meetings all day in my grad school classes start, and then other than that, it's getting ready for fair. Livestock entries were due last week, and, it was like a revolving door out of my office all day. That's kind of how the day's going. But yeah, it's been busy. It's just the countdown to fair, and just go ahead and rip this thing off like a Band-Aid.
That's another thing. The fair, do they get all this electrical done and stuff?
They got what they could get done before the fair.
So I'm still not doing the millions.
I haven't heard on that one way or the other yet. I'll do some checking, Bob.
Yeah, I go by and talk to Justin.
I'm running out of time and I'm pretty busy, so.
They might have to make it one more year without.
Might have to be in late fall or
Well, especially if they're not done.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what all they're
something.
going to do.
Go there if they're not done.
That
But
it?
that's all I got.
Okay, Tracy?
Oh, nothing major, just lots of little stuff still. So, just plugging away every day. It's my
John?
Morning, John. So we have Alexis, who has
Hi, Alexis.
started as my custodian. She's gonna be working the early morning shift. So I'll be taking her around today, meet everybody, so.
Is that a hey Lexus? Is that how that works? Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So last week, it was kind of a quiet week for us, for once. I did meet with the Falconeer last week, and we are gonna look into, he's gonna start doing some pigeon trapping in a few weeks. We're gonna do that until it snows. Once it starts getting cold, we can't do anything in there until the spring. So we're looking into getting that set up so he'll start doing traps. And then once he does the traps, and he gets the ones that are not very evolved into how they age-wise, then he'll bring out the falcons. And then we'll probably do it again in the spring. We'll do more pigeon trapping and then the falcons again. So he's been out busy working for Barrett's right now, Barrett's Mineral. So when he gets that done, he'll be down here to do ours. Other than that, it was we're still waiting on parts for the pump downstairs in the jail. We're having a little bit of a hard time finding the capacitor for the pump itself. It's manufactured completely by the people who do the pump. So they're looking into finding the capacitor and the motors. I haven't gotten an update from them yet. Hopefully by the end of the day, I'll hear a little bit more on that. So, we're going to work with the judge this week and get her carpet rest of it put in. Her desk showed up on Friday, so Sean with the muscles and Tracy got that bad boy in. They're pretty big.
Wonder why you weren't wearing your judge clothes today.
I was gonna explain. I just haven't had a chance yet.
So, we're gonna be, taking apart Bo's desk and hopefully try to get him set up in the multi-purpose room a little bit so we can do some work in there. And then the guys will do painting and tear out the carpet and put a new carpet this week. So, other than that, that's about it.
Becky?
Just paying bills and working on the budget.
Tracy?
So this Thursday, we certified the ballot for the general election, and we'll be ready to roll here, get things going for the election.
That's it?
Catch me in about a week.
Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Miller.
It's an easy week for me. I'll be running around this afternoon, getting things ready for the pre-service teachers meeting tomorrow up at Western. And I'll be up there all day on Tuesday. And after that, I might not even come to work. I went to Kalispell for training on Monday of last week. I went to Missoula for training on Friday, and I'm trained out.
You know yourself.
And we're too busy, or I would tell a story of what my day in at Hellgate High School, but we're too busy.
We are? We'll make them, no, we got
No,
some
okay,
coming
yeah,
up,
yeah.
all right. Amber. Oh, what your? Huh? You're with them?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what's coming up here at quarter after. Yeah, I thought maybe. I didn't know. Sorry, I went down.
Might get that.
Amber.
Busy in our world too. We're working on getting interstate done down around the snow line. It is terrible. Actually working with the BLM, Snow Line Grazing Association, and the Highway Department to get a helicopter in there this fall. It's just, it's too steep, it's not safe to get people up there on that cut, and it's bad, so. We'll hopefully have the bird flying this fall, which is always kind of fun to watch anyways. Yeah, yes, yep. Other than that, we'll be hitting railroad here soon. That's where we're at.
I had somebody ask me, the big old, do you still do lanes? The county lanes? Yeah, I told them you did. They said, well, we haven't seen it. I said, seen them out here. So I said, no, they still do
Yeah,
them.
they're working on
Okay.
them, so.
They've only got 1,600 miles of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Judge, oh, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, Judge.
Yes, so I'm wearing my work in the office, move furniture, paint clothes.
Paint clothes, okay.
Yes. We've canceled court most of this week. There's a jury trial on Friday, so I will be dressed up that day. But yeah, we're just moving out those desks, put a lot of it in my office, and we're just gonna work around it for a little bit. I've also been working a lot with the jail and Under Sheriff Haggard, with the overcrowding issue, trying to brainstorm ways to help them out in anticipation of Labor Day. You know, I have a template made up to extend jail time for people who have already been convicted and sentenced, and I've given them like a deadline you have to serve by this day. Well, I'm willing to extend that because the jail can't really fulfill those commitments right now. So working on that, also brainstorming about potentially offering house arrest for people if there's no room in the jail, if the statute allows for it. And just being cognizant of the bonds that are being set. We did have a felony come in this weekend, so some things are gonna be unavoidable, but I'm trying. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to sheriff.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, the jail, it was a very busy week and weekend. We are currently sitting at 25 inmates.
Wow.
And so right now I'm trying to work on getting some also space made. Our biggest issue, obviously, with room in there. We have the bunks, but we can only use the bottom ones until we get rails installed to the tops so people can't roll out of them. That can help us be able to kind of double up our capacity because right now we only have 18 available bunks. So we've got a lot of people sleeping on the floors. Yeah, we're dealing with a ton of felony stuff right now and just trying to work on getting people out because the state, DOC, we're sitting on people for months that can't go anywhere because they tell us that they have waiting periods. And our biggest issue right now, I've got several employees working either 12-hour shifts or extra 12s as well. We have an inmate at the hospital who tried to commit suicide twice in the jail this weekend. And we're kind of fighting. I've been working really hard and it's been great. The judge, county attorneys, everybody's been very helpful. I know if I'm getting a bunch of phone calls over the weekend, then he's getting a bunch of phone calls over the weekend as well. So we're working with Warm Springs right now. They refused to take him because they're full. So this guy said they were gonna try and work on getting some people out the door today to make room for that. But unfortunately we are up at the hospital with him right now and I have to have somebody sitting on him 24/7 until we get that resolved. Luckily I do have some great employees down there that are willing to take the extra hours and sacrifice their weekends right now. So we're trying to work on that. This person also found some flaws in our safety cell downstairs, so I'm gonna have to have somebody come in and look at that to what we can do for repairs. I guess we got some mats that are coming away from the walls, and it's exposing some wood and metal that are underneath the mats and whatnot. So I gotta have somebody coming down, take a look and see what we can do to repair it. Because if we're gonna have this situation, it's not cost efficient to have them at the hospital since I can't have them in the safety cell right now. So, yeah, we'll work on that. It's just I don't know. I'm seeing it. Dillon's kind of changing. Most of the people down in jail are not from here. It's not local arrests. It's people that are either just traveling through or from out of state that haven't been here for very long, and it's causing issues in town. So it's causing issues with us. But like I said, everybody's been very helpful on trying to work to get a resolve done, but it's just kind of a headache right now with Labor Day weekend coming up and having 25 people down there already.
How many of them belong to the state that are?
4.
We currently have 4 or 5 people that belong to the state. You know,
I like to keep those guys because we get.
Well, I know, I mean,
Yeah.
they're paying taxpayers, I guess.
Yeah, we do earn money from the state with those ones. But you know, it's somebody that's like, we've got one inmate down there that was a PNP issue, and he is supposed to go to the START program over in Anaconda. We've had him now for 4 weeks since he was sentenced to that. And the first week I called, START told me that, hey, we've got a waiting list. We've got 40 people on a list right now, so we'll get him on there as well. So there's 40 people ahead of him. It's like, all right, that's great. You know, I understand the wait and the over capacity. And then 2 weeks later, we tried to call and find out as well, and then got told that there are now 50 people ahead of him. I kind of threw a fit with the lady. She hung up on me because she was very upset she was upset that I was upset. So, yeah, and then we're also going to run into issues because it sounds like the mask program in Missoula is going to be shutting down. So they're currently, I guess that's where the problem's occurring is mask is shutting down. So they already have all their inmates and stuff that are there, people, and they've got to figure out where to put them. So they are now going first on the list into other state programs, and people that are sitting in the county jails are getting backed up.
Short commentary, but state legislature, thank you. State says they're full, tough shit. County handle it. I don't know where you're going to get your money to handle it, but handle it until we get ready for it. So this is state's problem.
Senate Bill 11 that's being proposed is one to look at if you haven't yet.
Some bed space? Or what are they looking at?
So that is more of a system to.
Well, we're way behind. We'll catch it later.
Yeah.
I just had to
Just
come.
Senate Bill 11, go take a peek.
Okay. Thanks.
You got something, Dave?
Yeah, said it all.
Okay. Leslie, don't get upset on the woman on the phone.
I know.
I always leave the best till last. Ty, you're
Yeah,
you
right.
got the floor.
Hopefully I won't disappoint. Yeah, we're a little bit busy. It was a busy weekend. I had my folks in town from New Mexico, and then I was on the phone with Deputy Turnus here quite a bit, as well as calling all over the state, Missoula, Butte, Billings, trying to find a facility because we're going to do an involuntary commitment today for this gentleman that keeps trying to find new and creative ways to kill himself. Hopefully they're trying to make us some room at Warm Springs. If they don't have room there, I'm trying to find somebody somewhere that'll take him. We're prepping for some trials. We're interviewing expert witnesses. We've got a couple of rape trials that are coming up that are relatively high profile. And so other than that, we're working on some subdivision stuff with Mr. Makarowski. I appreciate the judge's efforts. The judge is always in judge's clothes, by the way, no matter what. Because she's got a robe she can put on and it's go time.
I think we have a bikini.
Well, there's some people that would know.
My Mother was a judge long enough to know that sometimes she was sitting in trial and I knew she was wearing a t-shirt, you know. But yeah, we're way busy. We've got a bunch of cases and new cases, disputed cases, and we're doing our best to try to get some people out. One of the inmates, we're gonna dismiss our charges without prejudice so that we can open them again if we need to. But the feds want him on a lot more significant charges than what we've got him on. So we're just gonna let them have him. They're gonna come get him this week, and I wanna echo and sympathize with detention. I was down there looking at the chessboard, which is the map of all the cells. And, you know, it's not that they have too many, and 25 is a really, really, really high number. But there are a lot of those inmates that can't be in a cell with each other, you know, and so jockeying people around, that's a task that I'm glad doesn't fall on my office's shoulders. So we want to tip our hat to those guys.
Yeah.
But, and then thank you to the commission and the folks at the university for working on this conduit bond. The stadium's looking really good out there, and I drive past it every day when I go over the rickety bridge on the way back to my house. That's right. We're staying busy.
And there's no HR problems either. So.
Zero HR problems anywhere. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, handling that too. So
All right.
we're staying busy.
You guys got anything?
So, no, survived my social director, that'd be something. Plan the family reunion this week. It was my family, but I survived.
Congratulations.
We had 9 and 10 staying at the house and doing it night.
Oh, there you go.
So that also was silent Sunday night.
It was good. It was good.
The 32 in New York.
I don't know what we'll wait to dismiss till he comes back. He went after something. Coffee?
Yeah, he didn't take his cup.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good week.
Take a donut.
Oh, I really got something on there, I guess.
The donut.
Gotta get a good Nate.
Yeah, good to see you.
The donuts are still
I got our
here if you want to take one.
So,
Sheriff always gets first pick.
That's right.
no, extension, tell that, you know.
Exactly. That's why they put the hole in the center of them. That's exactly why. And if there's a fritter, I can't stay away from them. So.
Exactly right.
Nobody's really talking to get up
So it was funny because she called and it was my
Whatever excuse you have.
and they were on speaker, you know, listening and I talked to them about how you use it. And then when she said, "Oh, well, we got 50 people ahead of you," I'm sitting in the chair and I'm like, "Bullshit!" I was like, "They told us 2 weeks ago I was 40. There better not be 50." And then he put it on the speakerphone and he's like, "Okay." And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you on hold. I'm gonna go talk to somebody." And then they talked, and he's like, "I don't think she was happy." I was like, "We gotta make a statement." I'm like,
Hopefully
All right.
education.
9:15.
Yeah, 9:15, we're back. I gotta go do. Bill Western Foundation, conduit bond resolution. You got the floor?
All right. Step around you here real quick. Step up to the podium. Yes, so, Mayor and Commissioners, my name is Nathan Billy with the law firm Jackson, Murdo and Grant from Helena, Montana, and I'm serving as bond counsel to the county on this project. So I'll give you a quick overview of the resolution, what the project does. Roxanne can give you a quick overview of the project, and then if you guys have any questions, we can answer them. So I know we talked about this the last time I was here in town, but the county under Montana law and under federal tax law has the ability to issue what are called conduit bonds, where you issue a bond on behalf of a 501c3 activity or entity as we will, as I'll touch on and is laid out in more detail in the resolution, the county's role in this starts and stops at the date of closing. Effectively, you guys really are a mechanism by which the IRS allows the bank, in this case Stockman, which lends to the UM Western Foundation, to issue this debt on a tax-exempt basis, meaning they don't pay any income tax on the interest that they earn. That allows them a pretty significant savings. Otherwise, they'd have to price that into the debt. That allows them to pass that on to UM Western Foundation. That usually results in a savings of about 3% on the debt. So as you can imagine, on $1 million, it's a pretty significant benefit that the IRS allows for, but they do have some process that they require. So we did the first part of the process, which was passing the resolution of intention to issue these bonds. There's publication of notice in the paper. And then today there would be an opportunity, if anybody wanted to show up and provide any comments as to why this project wouldn't be in the public benefit. It doesn't seem like this one's particularly controversial. Usually these kind of deals aren't. Every now and then in some counties they tend to be, especially when you deal with things like housing issues and kind of the not my backyard folks show up every now and then. But on this one, I don't know if anyone's here to comment, but it gives everybody an opportunity. And then as will be detailed in this resolution, the key thing under state and federal law to qualify for this exemption is a determination by the elected local government body that this project is in the public interest and a public benefit. So it's not just enough that it's a 501c3 entity, but after a hearing, opportunity for comment, you all determine that this is a public benefit. And that qualifies them for this tax benefited status. I will very quickly, I won't bore everybody. I know you had the resolution before you. I know your county attorney reviewed it, but this is a very high level overview of the resolution that you have in front of you. The resolution starts by reciting your statutory authority to issue what is called industrial development revenue bonds. Montana just over time has shoehorned in every kind of conduit bond under the industrial development bond statute. So the name's a little bit deceptive. But anyway, that's the name of the statute and the name of the type of bond under Montana law. We identify who you're being asked to issue these bonds on behalf of the University of Montana Western Foundation and their sports and activities complex project. Some of the key language in the recitals is on page 2. The second from the top indicates that proposed by the company that you'll enter into a loan agreement at the closing whereby the company, as UM Western, assumes all obligations, liabilities, covenants, and duties under the bonds, and where they agree to indemnify defendant home heartless, the county, and any individual members, directors, officers thereof, is the claim of loss arising out of the project. The next recital clause is probably most important for the general public and for your purposes, that the county will be acting as a conduit issuer of the bonds, will not incur any pecuniary liability or any charge on its general credit or against its taxing powers. You're going to see that's a theme that shows up both in your actual findings and in on the bond specimen, which is attached as an exhibit to this. If you get into the actual text of the resolution, the actual findings, and in section 1, we recite define the project. We have the language on page 3 in bold and underlined that the Series 2024 bond will be a special limited obligation of the county, payable solely from and secured by payments to be made by the company under the loan agreement, will not constitute or give rise to pecuniary liability of the county or a charge against its general credit or taxing power. That's language from the statute. Just comes right out of code, and the key thing for that language is that debt which is not give rise against the general credit or taxing powers doesn't in any way implicate your general debt caps. So if you needed to issue debt to say build a new detention center or a jail or something, and whatever else the county was needing to do, who knows? That's on the top of my mind, just because counties.
Sheriff's also.
Right, yeah. Counties are trying and failing to trying those elections and losing them across the state right now. But the point being is if you wanted to do something like that, there is statutory debt caps that limit how much debt that a county can issue. This doesn't count against it. So in no way, not only is the county not liable for this debt, but it doesn't in any way tie your hands if you have anything on the horizon you're wanting to look at. So that is important as well. In section 2, there's a number of findings. The most important one for both state and federal law purposes is actually that sentence in subpart C that says the issuance and sale of the Series 2024 bond by the county and the financing of the project is in the public interest of the county and its citizens. That is the key language that the IRS requires y'all to find in order for them to give this tax benefit. In section 3, there's an authorization and approval of documents. This goes through and identifies your board chair, your county clerk and recorder or treasurer to sign some documents at closing. So when we get to the point where we're going to close on these loans, there will be some documentation, this assignment of the loan. There's a bond specimen which is attached as an exhibit. There is an assignment of that bond. There's a loan agreement and an assignment of the loan agreement such that everything on the date of closing passes immediately. The money doesn't even hit your account. The money goes right to Western. The assignment gives the right to Western to receive the funds and assigns them all of the obligations pertaining thereto. So section 3 authorizes your county officers to go through and actually execute those documents. Section 4 talks about some of the terms and the amounts of the bonds. Section 5 is probably the most important part for the university's purposes. It goes tax matters relating to the bond, and they make representations about how they're going to use this this money, but essentially they're going to be using it for their 501c3 purposes. There's going to be, they're not like a pass-through for any for-profit company. They're not going to lease it out for profit, any for-profit company on any long-term basis. So they have to make some representations to that effect. That's the end of the resolution. If you look at Exhibit A, this is the actual specimen of the bond. When you're a bond, just think promissory note. It's the way that a public entity evidences its debt. So oftentimes when people hear bond, they think it's like a publicly traded stock or something like that. But bonds can be either publicly traded as a security or they can be privately placed and booked as a loan. So the bank's going to treat this as just a loan. It's going to be on its books as a loan. And this bond is just a substitute for promissory note. But for whatever reason, 100 years ago when we started divvying up public versus private debt, bonds became the public equivalent of a promissory note. So if you look at the language, you'll see both at the first top of it, it states, as set forth more particularly below, this bond does not constitute or give rise to pecuniary liability of the county. It's not a charge against its general credit or taxing power of the county. And if you go a couple pages into the bond, it's page 9 of this document, you will find an entire capitalized paragraph that I won't read in entirety to you. I mean, probably the key sentence from that is no failure of anybody to comply with any covenants or conditions under the agreements will in any way give rise to a cause of action against the general credit, general funds, or taxing powers of the county. So again, as I said, that's a theme that runs through this resolution. You get sick of me hearing, but I think it's important for the members of the public to know the county is never going to be liable on this debt. They're in no way a surety or a guarantor. If the Western Foundation were to default on this debt, there's no coming back to the county. It's just purely, it's a matter of a private transaction that's allowed to get this tax benefit status by defaultment. So that's evidence in statute in your resolution and then by contract in the actual bond specimen. Okay. That's my pitch. I'll let Roxanne just give you a quick update of where they're at on the fund.
Yeah, you bet. And I think it's, I'll go really
I got a
fast.
little time yet.
Do you have a few minutes?
Go ahead.
He's honored guard.
Honor guard at 10, but I got a little time.
Okay. I think it's important for
VFW
you
club.
to know that
the original intent of this entire project, and honestly, the pledge from John and Phyllis are that this is a public space. It's gonna be utilized by everybody that we can get on there, whether it's like football on Saturday mornings or, obviously Bulldog football on a Saturday afternoon, or Beaver football. Second phase lights will go into the stadium, so yeah. But as soon as we finish phase one, we're moving on to phase two. I mean, we're not gonna let any grass grow under our feet. We have some tremendous momentum, and I think people are just incredibly excited about the opportunity to have events in that space. And long-term, we'd love to host even some more events that would allow us to bring more economic impact to this community. I'll guarantee you're gonna see some economic impact this year, because the number of people that are gonna show up on Saturdays, I have no doubt we're gonna see an increase in attendance, which is really exciting for our motels and our restaurants and our businesses that'll see an impact from that. But your support means the world to us. It's gonna save us a lot of money moving this project forward. And we will be playing a game September 7th. The facility will not be complete. At least phase one will not be complete. We probably won't finish and sign off on our last piece of work until October, because the vertical construction is just taking a little longer, and there were some things that didn't get done to the architectural design, so they have to go back and make a few changes. But it's okay. It's actually some good things they need to do. Asphalt went in this weekend. If you haven't driven by it, it looks amazing. And yeah, we're excited. We're gonna play a game for sure. It's gonna be an amazing season, but we probably won't pay our last bill till October.
I'll just echo that everything that Mr. Billy has said. Their firm's done a tremendous job. I read every word of that thing several times, just to ensure that the county is not gonna have any liabilities. We did make a few minor changes, but yeah, my office stands behind it 100%.
Okay. Yeah, and then also to this economic impact, whatever you want to call it, for college. Coach Norris, he's always been big on community service with his young men. So his football team, I think they went over the fairgrounds the other Friday. They had a big party over there to pick and clean for Labor Day.
Yeah.
He sent me a bunch for Chris-Craft Park, where they practiced last year to finish up the gopher control. So we had 12 the guys out there filling gopher holes up for little kids soccer that starts there pretty quickly and breaking ankles in gopher holes. So really appreciate them guys getting out and working on the community.
We even have it at the landfill, doing glamorous thing of picking up paper and trash and sorting out the rattlesnakes and all that kind of thing.
And this thing too, Sky, did you prepare all this?
I did, but Sky, as he said, he revised it as well.
And one thing, like I told Katie and everything, on these last pages, when all there is on this page here is a signature page, is passed and approved, without being attached to the rest of this, that's a dangerous piece of paper.
I understand, yeah.
So we like a lot of that stuff to be spaced out on here different.
Yeah, no, that's.
This and here's.
Yeah, we just don't want to have one page with a signature.
And so there's a reason sometimes that we do that, and that is, and in this deal, it won't be as big of a deal, but oftentimes if we're trying to sell these bonds to investors, they require changes in the terms right at the last minute. And so I might come in the day before closing to get, and then it moves things around, and then I have to track someone down it. Well, my partner once had to go up to Elk Camp to find the mayor to execute a bond because we had to change it. But that's the kind of the context for it. But yeah, we can absolutely change that up before you guys go to sign it. It's no skin off my nose.
Do we need to put this in the form of a motion?
I think so.
I believe so. Just like with any other resolution.
I'd make a motion, we approve the UM Western Foundation conduit bonds resolution.
Sure, second.
And I would second that.
Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, signify by
Aye.
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 Congratulations.
Motion carried.
In this case, this is the first one I've seen of these things in 25 years. So that, like I said, if you're sitting, this is our first one. This is our first one. We borrowed a little bit of money from banks through Intercap, but we've never gone through the bond issue. So that's a good experience. Because we got some big stuff coming up or something, like elevators or detention centers.
Right.
Where, is there a place on here to sign? I mean,
So all you need to sign on the resolution right now is just the last page of the resolution itself, which is page 6. Everything else is just the specimen. Like I said, you'll see there's some blanks on that bond specimen. We have to get the exact date of closing lined up with the bank, and then I'll get that in final form.
And we don't have to, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I think 1:30.
Yeah.
It says 1:30.
2:30.
No, 1:30, yes. Let's look at the budget.
Yep. Absolutely.
There you go.
What's that?
Today.
Gordon, take it over there.
Thank
Thank you, guys. I gotta run.
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'll let you know, I'll send you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, if you get that.